I know this video is coming to you guys a little later after the game as I had a family commitment tonight, which was nice because it actually allowed me to catch the game. And man, this was a fun one despite the Bulls losing. I mean, if you're in the tanking camp, this was one of those fun bad losses, a loss that you can take a lot away from in terms of positives for the growth and development of some of the players, while also keeping or helping your odds of keeping that pick. You guys know I'm not as focused on that pick for reasons I've explained in prior videos. Yes, ideally, they would keep the pick while also seeing their young players develop. That's the best case scenario, but the Bulls and their players exceeding expectations and playing a better style of basketball that we've seen in years past. But losing just one first-round pick, in my view, isn't the end of the world either. It is one pick after all. So anyway, as for this game, it was the return of DeMar DeRozan. Bulls put together a nice tribute video for him, thanking him for his time in Chicago, not only with his play on the court, but also what he's done in the community at large. I'll always still love DeMar, true professional, pure scorer, and you saw that in today's game where he was doing what we had seen him do for the past 3 seasons, showing off that mid-range game, showing off his craftiness and getting to the basket. And you could tell in this game, Zach and DeMar wanted to get the best of each other. And look, even though the Bulls didn't end up on top, Zach wasn't able to close some of those final possessions to give the Bulls a shot to win the game. Zach did have the more outstanding game in my opinion, putting up yet again another 30-plus points, the 6th straight game, scoring more than 30 points, something only DeMar and Michael Jordan have done in franchise history. 36 points on 50% shooting, 12 for 24, 5 for 8 from 3. He was having another one of those moments where he was just on one in the third quarter where it looked like he just couldn't miss. Zach was getting inside, drawing contact, getting to the line, shot a perfect 7 for 7 from the free throw line. But 36 points to go along with 10 rebounds, 4 assists. Yet again, another team high in box plus minus at +5. You know, I just recently had a video talking about how we need to be talking more about Zach LaVine and the kind of season he's been having and how that's going to impact his overall trade market, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear about, but it's going to be a topic of conversation as we get closer to the trade deadline and Zach's value continues to rise with the kind of numbers that he's putting up. DeMar had a nice game, but it just wasn't the kind of game that Zach LaVine had. And it's just unfortunate the Bulls couldn't pull out a win in this one, especially when they actually controlled the lead for most of the second half, including the fourth quarter. Those final plays down the stretch were just poorly executed. That 5-second violation on the sideline out of bounds play where Josh Giddey couldn't get the ball in play. That's unacceptable that late in the game when you have a chance to tie it, although that was a pretty quick 5 seconds, I must say. But even before that, when the Bulls were actually able to get stops and try and take the lead, they couldn't finish at the basket. You saw Zach missing near the rim, thinking he got fouled or just straight up blocked. But honestly, outside of those final 2 minutes or so, this was a very highly entertaining game where we saw a ton of lead changes. The largest lead for either team never exceeded double digits. Up-tempo fast play. The Bulls actually played decent defense, which is always a surprise. So it was a really fun all-around game. Giddey was getting after it and attacking the paint. Didn't always finish, but at least he was being aggressive and slashing to the rim. He nearly had a triple-double in this game. 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. Vucevic and Sabonis, they were going at it back and forth in the paint. Well, on offense, neither of them are great on defense. Lonzo Ball got the start in this one. His first start of the season, of course, with Kobe White being out for tonight's game, and ended up having one of the best games for him on offense. This, of course, followed up by arguably his best game on offense the other night against the Wizards. The game he set a season-high 4 threes in that contest. In this one, he hit 5 threes, going 5 for 8. That three-point stroke has finally started to look a little more consistent for Zoe. And as we've talked about before, just his presence and awareness on the court is unmatched. And you saw just how that impacted this group with him being in the starting lineup and being a catalyst on defense. He's still on a minutes restriction and was only able to get in 26 minutes while the rest of the starters played most of this game. Yes, including Patrick Williams, who got 34 minutes in this one. For Pat, you know, while it was still a bit of a lackluster game for him offensively, he's still struggling to shoot the 3 ball. He's still struggling to finish those floaters. That said, Patrick Williams played a much better game defensively. I wouldn't say that it was perfect. He was tasked with guarding DeMar DeRozan and did get cooked a few times, which is pretty bad considering how long you've played with this guy and you know how he operates. But towards the end of the game, he was much more locked in defensively and got the Bulls some big stops. Obviously, we still need to see more from Pat. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists isn't going to cut it, especially in a game where the Bulls were without Kobe and you needed his additional offense. Instead, you saw that come from guys like Lonzo and Talen Horton-Tucker, which doesn't really bode well for the Bulls since you're wanting to see this guy take a leap as a scorer for the future of this team beyond the years of Nikola Vucevic and Zach LaVine. Great contributions tonight from Modest and Julian Phillips. I actually did like that Billy Donovan left Modest in the fourth quarter for a little longer than I had anticipated. He had a pretty sweet move in the paint where he shuffled his way and used his length to get off a really acrobatic shot. Bulls shot it well from behind the arc throughout, 48% in this game, 18 for 37, and shot it much better than the Kings did from deep, who really struggled shooting it from three in the first half. But where they did fall was getting outworked on the glass, and you weren't seeing those high assist numbers that we're used to seeing. How about this, though? The Bulls actually only had 7 turnovers in this game. I feel like that's got to be a season low when this year the Bulls have been much more susceptible to turnovers. Give the Kings credit, though. They are feeling it right now. 7 wins in a row after firing Mike Brown. They're now above 500. Bulls got the Kings on a heater and playing their best basketball, but still managed to hang tough with them. It's going to be interesting because the Bulls are now 3 games below 500, but they have the Pelicans, Hawks, Hornets, and Blazers over their next 4 games. Of course, you can never tell what this team is going to do from game to game, and they could very well lose all of those, but there is a real world where they win all of them and find themselves above 500 as they head out on that West Coast trip, which, if that happens, it'll probably put the Bulls close to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. I don't know, man. I just don't even know what to make of the season or how to feel about it. I just want to see good basketball. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this game. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.